Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Freeman Files here on the J Free 906 podcast channel. Mike Owen back in PA, I am, and I think the internet's going to hold out all right.
I can see you. You're not blurry.
And I'm not blurry.
You're crystal clear.
So hopefully everything will be all... Oh, just kidding. No.
It's too soon, Jeff. Don't do that.
Oh, I tell you what, folks, thank you so much for hanging in there with us last week, the last 2 weeks. Yeah, the internet down there in Florida was not good, as you saw. And Mike, you did. I watched the podcast. You did a great job while I was gone. Good.
I'm still traumatized. I'm not sure I can talk about it yet.
Oh, my goodness.
Chat really, they carried it.
Going?
Chat carried it. You had a lot of talented people in chat. They helped. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. Goodness great. Well, we do. That's one of the greatest things about doing the podcast and doing it live for that matter, just because of the chat. I wish I could spend more of the time talking and dealing with everyone. I mean, answering questions and seeing what people have. But the intelligence level of the chat is so high up there that it makes me feel like, So anyway,
bringing up the curve.
Yeah. Thank you. But anyway, thank you folks for hanging in there with us last week. We really appreciate it. And thank you for being here tonight. And if you are a newcomer here, or if you haven't already, we always ask if you would consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have if you do like the content of the show we do here for you tonight, consider giving us a thumbs up. Give us a like for that. And tell a friend if you have anybody that's also interested in Skinwalker Ranch. I know there is always maybe one other friend that most of us have that might be into the show, but sometimes you mention stuff like, Skinwalker Ranch is something, they're like, huh? What is it? Yeah. They just don't watch History Channel, TV show, popular reality. No, you never heard of it? Okay. All right. Well, and you tell them, oh, you got to watch it. So anyway. A couple of quick announcements tonight. One, I do need to mention for those of you who are into the Curse of Oak Island, and we have Oak Island Con happening very soon here, the 23rd and 24th of September, right there, just down the street from Oak Island. We're having Oak Island Con, and that is there's 9 tickets left for that. It's going to be our first annual. We're keeping it kind of small this year. There is an email for those of you who may have already signed up for it or booked your tickets for it. There is an email that was sent out by Lorraine, and she is asking for a little bit of information, like a name from people, because all she has is if you're bringing somebody with you. So if you're, bringing a spouse or your sister, brother, whoever is coming with you, we need their name. So we're making up name tags for everybody. So we just need your name. So if you would check that out, if you get that email, we'd appreciate it. You check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tony Sampson put out another little Instagram today about it. We're going to have such a blast. It's really going to be a lot of fun. Also, David Mason. Now, you guys know who David Mason is. Skinwalker Ranch guy, brings out the high-speed cameras, the thermals, and all that kind of stuff. Was talking with him a little bit, and hopefully we can get him to come on the podcast with us at some point here in the future, because I was asking him, Mike, you remember that, was it week before last? I think, gosh, just the last two have been a blur. When Caleb was watching that drone on the thermal, and it went into the barrier of the dome or the bubble, and it went poof. And so I reached out to Dave Mason because Michelle Stratton said, hey, Dave Mason be good. I was like, I didn't think of it. So I reached out to Dave, and we had a nice chat. He hadn't seen it, so he wasn't really able to comment on it, but we did talk a little bit. So hopefully we can get Dave Mason on the show at some point. That'd be fun. Anyway, he has a little video that he has done describing some of the thermal imaging and how this stuff works. It's a short video. It's like 20 minutes long. It is linked down below in the description of tonight's podcast. It's down there. You can check it out. It's really very informative. So if you'd like to see that, it's right down below. Like I said, it's about 20 minutes, but he does a very good job explaining the different aspects of that work, because he is an expert with thermal imaging. So All right. I think that's it. Let's get started, shall we?
You bet.
All right. So, the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit about last week's episode because we had to end early, as you know, that I was unable to finish. finish. Uh, yeah, it was hard. But yeah, so we did finish up. Why is that not coming up here? And I see. Okay, there we go. All right. New settings. StreamYard always having new settings all the time. There we go. All right. We had the issues that we had, so I don't want to go into too much detail with this, but this was episode number 8, and it was what was the name of that one? That was Swarm Weather. Swarm Weather. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about on that podcast or on that from that show a little bit was the time differential. And I know that we were cutting out, or I was cutting out really bad during that whole thing. But I remember them talking about the master clocks. And maybe you could, shed a little bit more intelligence on here than myself, Mike. But the master clock, so they're talking to different satellites, and there's clocks on the satellites that are supposed to be precise, and then down to the base stations, one base station in the bubble, one outside the bubble. And is that a good description of how that works?
Yeah. That's basically how GPS works, is by highly, highly accurate clocks, and the time differential that it's getting from various different satellites. There's many GPS satellites, and then there's the GNSS system, Global Navigation Satellite System. That's multiple countries' GPS systems, at least the countries that we play well with. So there's lots of satellites that they can get signals from. And it looked like, based on the side-by-side that they showed, that, oh, look at that, that the dropout of the signal that was happening every 5 seconds was happening in the bubble first, and then in the East Valley 2 seconds later, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you're getting some sort of an interruption from satellites, it would happen all at once.
Correct.
Given how close those two things were, I know that they're, few yards, 100 yards from each other or so. But in the grand scheme of the distance from them to satellites, they're very, very close. So you would have expected that drop to happen at the same time.
Right.
The fact that it didn't, and it was happening 2 seconds difference between the two locations. That one possible explanation for that is that the disruption was very, very local, very close to those receivers.
Yeah.
So one possibility, what exactly that was or what was causing it, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's for sure. Hey, Jim. There's Jim from The Soul of the Unexplained. Great podcast. If you guys have not checked that out, you really should. Just popping in to say hello at a Major League Soccer match with my son tonight. Eating plenty of tacos. Stay hydrated. I had tacos the other night. Last night, as a matter of fact. They were good. I made them myself. Yeah. So So getting back to that, though, you're right. So if it's that local, or those are two. They're so close together, and so why would they have this dropout happening in exactly 5 second interview, which is kind of weird in itself.
Yeah, that's pretty suspicious in and of itself. I would agree.
Exactly. And then having the one that you can see these two clocks, if you can see these folks, 5:16:01, 5:16:01, the clocks were the same. It was the dropout that was happening exactly every 5 seconds, was two seconds different than the other. I am Joyce said I talked to Eric about that. He said less often from others, but more often from me. It has to do with electromagnetic interference. Well, we got a lot about that to talk about tonight, don't we?
We sure do.
Potentially interfering with our ability to accurately measure time. Yep. Very, very, very good. So And you heard Travis say, because I was reviewing that episode, and Travis had said that it doesn't matter if it's a GPS satellite that's on the other side of the planet, it still would have the same exact time.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Interesting. So I wanted to make sure we kind of talked about that a little bit tonight too, because I thought that was a very, very interesting point. And the EMI, electromagnetic interference, I think will start to, well, I was going to say make more sense, maybe not make more sense, but be more to that story. How's that? I don't
Makes
know.
more sense, but opens up a lot more questions.
There you go. Thank you. Very good.
As is the way.
As is the way. Oh, for sure. And so that was one of the main highlights I had from that show. They did do the drones, and I thought it was very interesting that the drones, other than the little dropout every 5 seconds, they didn't have any issues. Other than that, it was pretty much flawless. All 100 in the east field, all 100 in the triangle went up. They did their rotations just like they were supposed to. They came back down when they were supposed to. Thomas was able to shoot a rocket up through the one in the triangle, which normally would have the issues.
Yep.
Whereas in the east field, now they've got the problem with the he couldn't get the rocket to launch. Seemed like the battery was dead. We never really got an answer, though, did we, as to what the problem was?
No, he seemed like the battery didn't have any juice, so he grabbed the Jeep and used the battery from the Jeep.
Yep. They did the pyrotechnics. Had just a quick picture of that. The pyrotechnics went off. They did their thing. They put sparks and smoke into the area of the bubble, but again, we didn't hear anything in the post post analysis that they do in the command center. We didn't hear anything about that. So it must not have done anything out of the ordinary for them as far as that goes. There's the one rocket that Thomas got off in the triangle. Travis did finally get the rocket off after they put them back up a second time, the drones, that is. Then he was able to finally, his first attempt failed. Then the second attempt, he was able to finally get it launched. And then, of course, it started raining and they had to put everything away. Did you notice Pete Kelsey, as soon as the rain really started coming out, he had the backpack on instead of Caleb with the slam scanner in it. And he immediately, as soon as it started raining, he was like heading for the tent.
Out of there. I'm sure that's not a cheap unit. A lot of money.
I wouldn't think any of the stuff that he plays with is cheap units.
Nope. And not especially not in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. Especially not in the rain. In the post analysis in the command center, we're going to get to episode 9 here in just a moment. I just had a couple of things I wanted to cover from episode 8, Swarm Weather. They had this in the post analysis. We had Pete Kelsey was in, and he was talking about his LiDAR, and you can see the LiDAR here. And he's showing, you can see the ring of the, and this is time. This is over time. This time lapse of this here, and you can see that's why these are making a
composite
circle.
Composite, because you can see where the drones took off on the left.
Right here. Yep, exactly. So the one thing that was weird about his data, his point cloud, was this. And again, I don't think they really came to any kind of a conclusion as to what this is or what would have caused it. I know they initially said, well, wasn't it raining? But I think he was pretty well, Eric was pretty well convinced that this happened before the rain.
And if it was rain, it would have shown up everywhere.
Everywhere, not just cloudiness around there. But again, I mean, it almost looks like smoke in a way. Like, remember how the smoke showed up when they did the burn event and the dumpster fires that they had going? It almost showed up kind of like that. So any speculation on your part what that might be?
Nope.
Nope.
Anybody? It looks like it's coming up from the ground. I mean,
it does.
It looks more intense the lower you get to the ground.
Exactly.
But what would cause it to return? That the laser has to return from something, so there has to be something physically there, and there was nothing there. They didn't see anything on the ground. They would have said, there was something, water or something spraying up out of the ground. It doesn't. Yeah, it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Is it coming from the tunnel? Maybe. I don't know. But it's interesting. Maybe it has something to do with what we're going to show here next for fog. Yeah, I know. I kind of thought of that too, but it's definitely all in one area. It's heavier here than here, and it's not spread around. So I don't know. I just don't know. I know it looks like mist or steam. Yeah. I thought maybe the rocket, but the rockets had already launched or haven't launched yet, and they wouldn't be way over here.
Right.
And the pyrotechnics, same thing. I don't know. It was interesting. Whatever it turned out to be. Another one of those, befuddlement moments when you look at something like that and you just have no explanation. And you hear Pete say, "I wish I knew." Another key thing to it was this right here. The episode, was this. I was going to say UAP. I guess I'll leave it at UAP because it was a phenomenon, that unidentified aerial phenomenon. We don't know what it was. If it was how many times have anyone in here seen a shooting star or like that quick shot? It looks different than this.
Yeah.
This was one frame from a camera image, so you didn't see it shooting across the sky. It was just there and gone in that circle, there and gone. That's another one of those crazy, what the hell is that? And it was something Christina had brought this up today. Have you guys heard there's a close-up of it right there. All this stuff here in the background, that's all them. That's a reflection of them sitting at the command table in the background. So just disregard all that. That's just a reflection. But you see this image right here all stretched out. And, it was one of those things. Have any of you heard the stories lately going on about this asteroid, something that's out there in space that's heading towards the Earth? Could be here in this area closer to us, I guess, sometime next year, 6 months, something like that. There's a picture of it. This is an area here in November. This is an area where we need to. I got to dig back into this with Mike here, and start talking more UFO stuff because it's getting crazy. The UFO stuff, not just on Skinwalker Ranch, but everywhere.
Yep.
It's getting more and more prominent that people are getting. You also have to be worried or careful of the AI. People have been making stuff with AI too. So it's how do you decipher what's real and what isn't? That thing is going to be closer to the moon. Yeah, interesting stuff. But I just grabbed this because now these are not they're different pictures of its contrail or its trail, I guess, or it's this is what it actually looks like. It's an asteroid or something, but we'll be behind the sun in November. See, so yeah, interesting though. I thought kind of interesting when we saw the two, boom, something like that made me think of that other picture. So anyway. So that was pretty much the highlights from last week's episode. We can certainly move on to this week. They had a couple of things, we talked about the next time, but we'll just jump right into the next time right now. So episode number 9, Darting Around. Let's just go right for it. So they start off in the command center. And they're on screen there. They've got Jeremiah Pate on screen, and he is the CEO and founder of Lunasonde. And if you remember, he was out there. It was a couple of seasons ago, wasn't it? A couple of years ago, or it wasn't last year. Was it last year? Anybody?
Yeah, I think he's been on a couple times now
Well, he
because
had
he
go
did the
ahead.
balloon. Was that
Mhm.
last year?
Yeah, that's him there. Jeremiah Pate. He had the
Yeah,
balloon.
there you go.
Uh-huh. And so he um I was just looking, Tatiana, thank you so much. It feels like something that needs to materialize a little bit in our dimension to check what's going on and then go back to wherever they came from, um, where we can't see them. Yes. Yeah. And I think that's why, and we'll get to this here in just a little bit, but I think that's why they move so darn fast, because most of the time nobody ever sees them. Well, I'll talk about a little bit of that once we get toward the end here, a little bit more. But yeah, he had the balloon system out there that had gone up and they brought it back down. And while it was going up, he had all these instruments you see tied onto it. And it was recording. Um, Gotta go. See you later. Thank you, I am Joy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. She did a super sticker here, and that's very nice. Appreciate that. Thank you. Um, yeah, 2020 season 4, I think. Yeah, it was a while back. But anyway, he had these instrumentation, and what it had shown at that time, they were talking about like this a tunnel or something that was right around the triangle area that was going up into the mesa, right?
Yep.
That was the main gist of it. Well, he took that data that it had collected from last time and kind of ran it through some new updated software stuff that they had, and they came up with this. Um, this is very interesting, folks. It actually kind of blows my mind a little bit. Um, this is looking at energy energy in the area,
EMI.
and huh?
EMI.
EMI. Thank
Yeah.
you. Electromagnetic interference, and it's talking about the purple area, weaker energy levels, um, but higher than normal, 10 times higher than what you would normally have in any given area outside of a city or something like that. I mean, look at where you're talking about. Skinwalker Ranch. If any of you have been out in that area, there's nothing around out there. I mean, houses, there's a few houses here, scattered around, obviously, in a community. It's very, very desolate, though. I've gone out there. Christina and I driven right up to the ranch there. But yeah, so 10 times higher in the purple area of what you would
Right.
normally have just background EMI. Um, then you've got the yellow, and again, the colors as they get lighter, the blue, light blue, green, and then the yellow area is the highest points, and it's the yellow area there is 10,000 times higher. 10,000 times higher. Um, let's see, Constance. Jeff, what is more interesting is the other yellow area on the mesa that was never discussed. It is shown in the background on the show.
I don't think they can because that's off property.
Right. Probably that's the case.
I'm actually surprised they showed
All the other
some of this
colors.
information that was not on property because that crop circle on the right hand side is not on property.
Yeah, you see
They
this
own
over
north of the road, but not south.
here. Right. Yeah, the property line, and I know I'm not right on this, but the property line just basically comes on top of the mesa a little ways.
Yeah.
And some of it, not all of it, but in some of the area where they put the cameras and stuff, that's theirs, but not.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
But yeah, you could see that in the background. It was another. It wasn't quite. It didn't have the red in the center,
Mhm.
but it was another yellow spot just north of there.
Right.
So.
And this was at a height of. He talked about it being like a bolt of lightning levels. Can you? I mean, think
Yeah.
about that for a minute. Bolt of
Of
lightning
energy.
of
Yeah, the
energy.
amount of energy from a bolt of lightning.
Mhm.
And never seen this ever before in all the scans that he's done since he's had this technology. He's never seen anything of this magnitude outside of a lightning bolt. That's a lot of energy
That is a
moving
lot of
around.
energy. And this was at a height of 3,000 to 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
Gigawatt energy source. Now, you heard Travis talk about a nuclear power plant puts out a gigawatt. This. And he said you don't see high levels, not even this high, but you see higher levels if you're like go flying this thing over a city. Then you'll see higher levels like that because of all the electronic
Electronics. Yeah.
stuff that's going on in the city.
Yep.
It's going to have a higher, and this is out in the middle of nowhere. This is huge, folks. Don't underestimate this particular data set here, this information, because this all ties together with everything else that's going on in this bubble area and this, the bubble, the talking about the apple core. You hear Eric talk about an apple core, like a wormhole type of a thing. And if you think back to some of the technology that the guys have had, other stuff that they've when they did the LiDAR over the triangle and it had that hole in the ground. Remember that? The black spot and then the red circle around there. I think I've actually got a picture of that too. I think it all ties together.
Yeah, even just recently when they had the scare with the high radiation, they determined that wasn't actually high radiation. It was EMI affecting the meters.
Yep.
Well, now you know that there's definitely high EMI. And we've talked about this in the past too, that electromagnetic interference can disrupt lots of electronics. And they're certainly using a lot of electronics like GPS and LiDAR and even equipment that has its battery drained. That can be the electronics attached to the battery that are being disrupted in some way, shape, or form that causes it to burn up the battery and pull way more power than it's supposed to. So I agree. I think it could explain a lot of things, but it still doesn't answer where does that come from?
Exactly.
Why is it there? Why is it there in the middle of nowhere? Gigawatt of energy? I mean, that's a tremendous amount of energy. And we also know that it's kind of transient. It moves around a little bit. So
there's evidence of that coming up here too.
Yep.
It's not, we look at the difference between static and dynamic. I mean, it's ever, they believe that it's ever changing, even the bubble itself. So somebody is it turning on and off, or is it?
Look at the last episode. We were just talking about how, look at all the drones. They worked perfectly in the triangle. That almost never happens.
Right.
So we know that there's clear evidence that it is somewhat transient. It's not always there. Sometimes it's over in the East Canyon, and that's where the problems happen. It does seem to be predominantly there around the triangle, but it's not all the time, which makes it really hard to troubleshoot when it's not always there.
Yeah, try to fix something that is intermittent. The problem is intermittent, and it's not happening when you're there.
Right.
But you remember, Travis, when they were talking about when they shot 2 weeks ago, when they shot that one large rocket off that had all the data, and they had that, oh gosh, I've forgotten the name of it now, that device that was tracking the GPS that was on board. But this is that rocket here. This is the data from that GPS data from that rocket that they shot off. That arc you see in here, right here, that's your 2,000 foot, roughly 2,000 foot level. This up here is the 3,200 foot level, which is where Jeremiah Pate was saying that we're 3,000 to 5,000 feet. Well, 3,200 feet is now coming into play quite a bit here. There's been several things brought up about that. So there's data errors right here in this area, and there's data errors as it goes up, as the rocket went up. So is it always just inside this bubble area, or is it like a radiating above that? I think it's radiating above that. This energy, EMI, is radiating above that area as well. So more to come on this. We'll jump into it a little bit more. But this is how the interference with all the GPS stuff and everything is that, like as Mike said, that this electromagnetic interference messes with all kinds of stuff, even the radiation detector. Next, they run over to the Mesa drill site, or the show jumps over to the Mesa drill site, and they start showing this here. These are drill bits that were going into the hole number 2, borehole number 2, going up into the Mesa. And I think it was Kyle was talking about this, and he said that they had a hard spot that they had hit, a very hard spot. It was right about 260 feet in the Mesa. And he said it was about 45 inches long. This hard spot was about 45 inches, just a little over shy of 4 feet. And it took them 2.5 hours to push through this, to go 45 inches. And then he showed these bits. Now, I'm not an expert on drills, but I had a real question about this drill bit, and so did Wayne. Wayne Pierce, somebody who had emailed me, and Wayne had brought this up too. He's trying to wrap his head around this. Doesn't this drill spin? But yet the wear on it. I mean, you do see the wear, because you're supposed to have these welded spots on it, and you see they're gone off this one. But this one has this one side it's just worn right down, flat. Oh, Wayne's here. Oh, there he is. Hey, Wayne. How
it would have been helpful to have seen the drill head.
I know.
Because those are teeth that go on the drill head.
Yeah.
So it would have multiple of those, or you don't just have one. So you would have many, and depending on where it's positioned on the drill head, it could be rotating to the point where that one spot is, the outermost portion. But maybe Wayne knows. I think those teeth can rotate in the bit, so they're not. You can see there's a collar there that they snap into place
right here.
Yeah, they snap into place, but those bits can rotate because they're symmetrical.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like it got to a certain point and it started to wear, and then it couldn't. There's probably so much pressure on it, couldn't rotate anymore. And that is a tremendous amount of wear on tungsten carbide. Those things are unbelievably hard. So something harder than tungsten carbide.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a pretty short list. And then he ups the ante by saying, "Oh, and the drill head never heated up."
Yes, isn't that the interesting part? And it happened before when they were pushing on that spot that they could not get through at all this last season, and it never got hot. They took it out and it never heated up. What? Now you heard Travis, what Travis was saying, I just thought of something. And that material that they got out of the Mesa last year, I think it was last year, the metal flakes, the bigger pieces of metal that they took out and they had it analyzed, and it was europium and palladium or something like that. And they talked about it being some of the same materials that would be used for heat shielding on the space shuttle. And if it was trying to drill through that and it would dissipate the heat away. Season 3, big flakes. Yeah, thanks, John. It didn't get hot.
And he does. Travis says, what if whatever this object was that they were drilling through, what if it was made out of that material? If that object was a large amount of had a large amount of thermal mass to it, was a large, say metal object of some kind that's harder than tungsten carbide. I agree that it wouldn't heat up, but I don't agree that the drill head wouldn't heat up. It wouldn't necessarily pull all of the heat out of the head would still
Right.
itself should have heated up. Like I said, it does make sense though that the object wouldn't necessarily have heated up nearly as much as the drill head, because we don't know how big it is, and if it's the size of a minivan or something, that's a lot of thermal mass. It can absorb a lot of heat throughout its entire mass and dissipate that, and it may not have been that hot, but it doesn't make sense to me that the bit did not heat up. The
Right.
drill head should have still heated up. When you're grinding off that much tungsten carbide,
Yeah.
that is going to produce heat somehow.
Yeah.
And that energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah. And where did it go? I don't know. This is crazy to me. I mean, it's not just going through rocks. Can't be.
Right.
And I'm still a little. Go ahead.
They do use that slurry. The it's not just water, but it's got other stuff in it too to help try and keep it cool. But that's to keep it cool. That wouldn't keep it keep the temperature completely flatlined.
Right.
It would still heat up, and it would not chew through that much tungsten carbide.
No.
That fast.
No.
That's ridiculously.
It's a lot
hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't know. This is really, really interesting. And you heard Travis say, we simply got to get in there and find out what this is.
Yeah.
So sooner they can get this borehole done, we're assuming it's done by now because this was filmed last year, that they can get this instrumentation up in there, and we'll hopefully see some of that happening. Maybe by the end of the season, we'll see some results of it in the future episodes before they get to this new season. That we assume that they might be filming now.
Yes.
But we'll see. But yeah, another very interesting little tidbit of weird strangeness happening on the ranch.
Yes, they are ceramic.
Yep. So yeah, and that's yet to come too. There's more to come on that story with the ceramic.
Yeah,
they found some metal. Yeah. So Chris Roberts found that's the archaeologist on site, and so they found some more pieces that were when he ran his magnet over, he got these pieces of metal out. There's one of them right there. Richard, thank you very much, Richard Edison. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Very kind of you guys. He found another piece of metal popped out of there, and we haven't heard about any analysis on these ones that they found this season yet. I'm assuming that they're going to get some of that done, and we'll get to find out what somebody had mentioned Emma. You guys need Emma out there with their XRF machine and everything for sure. Yes. Got to get that done. Michelle, hey everyone, I'm late. Had to get tacos with Jay, and then when I came in, it said chat was disabled for the stream. Refreshed and poof, there it is. Hi Michelle, how are you doing? Tacos, everybody's doing tacos. So yeah, more metal, and they've yet to find more later on. Here's that piece from last season. I think it was last season that they found that they pulled out the larger pieces. That was very, very interesting that they pulled out. Again, why is this in the Mesa? Why is it a couple 100 feet into the Mesa? It just doesn't make sense. Still haven't figured that one out. All right, so then the guys get the helicopters show up, and it is the folks from Lunasonde, Jeremiah Pate and his crew coming over from Lunasonde, and now they have some new technology that they have developed, or his team have put this together, and it's this rocket-shaped unit right here that's full of electronics, and they call it DART. It's the Dynamic Aerial Research Testbed. Don't know what all's in there, but we know radar is in there for one. transmit low frequency radar and then reflects back in the air, as well as hundreds, it just says hundreds of meters below the surface. Frank Cannon, thank you very much, sir. What do you, the running man thinks when the government owned the Skinwalker Ranch, they burned some old cars in the Mesa.
Buried.
Oh,
not
buried.
burned.
Oh, I'm sorry. Buried some old cars in the Mesa. Well,
probably Chevys.
Yeah, I don't think Chevy would have that same material, would they? I don't know. That they got out of there. Interesting. But this is really cool to see Lunasonde come out there with this new technology. And it's very interesting how this happens. Now, they got the one helicopter that they're flying is going to be at 12,000 feet and just run this lawnmower pattern back and forth across the triangle area while it's doing its radar stuff. Yeah, very expensive cars. Yeah. And this is where I grabbed tonight's thumbnail from, was this right here, because this is that area right here, 3,200 feet or so. They're talking about, and it could be, he said 3 to 5,000, but they're keying on this 3,200 feet that this EMI, electromagnetic interference, a very strong gigawatt type power emanating from the triangle area is coming from. So they're going back and forth across the triangle area to see what they can pick up with this radar unit. And then they did a quick shot of the Ark. I thought the Ark was kind of cool. I just had to show these pictures of them inside. What a cool place to work. Wouldn't that be great? I'd be an awesome studio, don't you think?
Yep.
Bay of monitors on the wall. Look at that.
Right.
I would love that.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Anyway, so they get the one helicopter to come over and pick it up, and Jeremiah's on board, and then the other one is going to be flying back and forth. There they are, launching the thing, and you can see it here hanging down 100. I think it's 100 feet below. They got a 100-foot line on it as it's flying back and forth. Brandon on the ranch for this experiment. Yep. I know. I wish I could, Jeremy. I wish I could visit there too. That'd be cool. As soon as they get started, one good old 1.6 gigahertz pops up. So they're going to be doing this, and then Jim Royston is going to be flying the LiDAR drone around the area as well during these experiments. As soon as they get airborne, Travis detects a 1.6 gigahertz signal that they are not broadcasting. And the interesting thing about this was that he using his antenna, his directional antenna. Now, remember, Mike, how we've said in the past, how we've talked about how that when they find these signals and they turn their antenna towards it, they're getting the direction it's coming from. So when he says it's coming from the Mesa or whatever, the triangle, it's from that direction. Now, here was an interesting, I'm glad they did this experiment, because this kind of changes that whole thing a little bit. Because as they were doing this, according to what they said, the editing of the show said they were flying around the bubble in circles. And as they were flying around in circles, Travis was keeping this antenna pointed towards the triangle at all times. He would turn it away. The signal would almost completely gone. He'd turn it back and the signal strength came back. No matter where they were going around this triangle, it seemed to be coming from the triangle. Now that changes everything about that. So either it's the signals being emanated from the bubble area, the triangle area somewhere, or is it the bubble itself that's we don't know. Does that indicate the 1.6 indicate the bubble's up? Feel like speculating on that one?
It's a good theory. I like that. I mean, it does seem like anytime the 1.6 is around, or even the 1.2 now, there's stuff going on that we know that the ranch is active. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So you get the 1.6 or the 1.2. Oh, bubble's up. Let's get out there and check it out. That's how you know. But then it also doesn't really come on until to start doing some experiments. So
Yep.
one causes the other, maybe. I don't know. I grabbed this picture here because I thought this is really interesting. Now, this is at 12,000 feet, folks. How many feet are in a mile? 5,000 and some. So
Yep.
they're over 2 miles high. And how in the heck? This is something I think about this every time they do one of these, and they're this high up in the air, and I go, oh, we're right over the triangle now. How in the heck can you see the triangle in this picture? I mean, I can. I know where it is, and I'll zoom in
Yeah.
on it.
Yep.
But how do you know if you're right over the triangle? Here's the triangle right here, right there. And they're way away from the triangle. This is the road, the main road over here coming in. So that's I just had to grab that because I'm like, how in the world?
Hopefully they're making their turn to go back over it
Yeah, making the turn to
at
go
that
back
point.
over the triangle again.
Yeah.
They probably are in this shot, but oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's just hard to figure. Jeremiah he gets the signal that he's safe for flight, so he starts his data. And the interesting thing was that he is getting data. It is going, and he's picking up data. You can see the data stream over here on the side. Yet they cannot pick up the signal from it anywhere. And the one thing that I wondered about this, and I was going to asking this question to the TV last night, and I might be a good question for Eric when they do the Q&A on the Insider program, is that the signal, and I was looking for the signal here real quick to see what it was. I've forgotten what the 18 megahertz. The 18 megahertz signal that's being transmitted by the radar device was not being picked up by any of the ground-based antennas they had set up, which were, here it is here, 18 megahertz. You see it, it's dead, nothing. All across the spectrum analyzer there. And it's being looked at. It's supposed to be being picked up either in the helicopter, the Ark, or the command center. Thank you, Craig. I saw that up there. Thank you very much, Craig. I appreciate it. Thank you, folks, for the donations and the super chats here tonight. I really, really appreciate it. Honestly, all of you. It really helps so very much. And the patrons that we have and all that, I'm taking a moment to thank you guys because it really, truly helps to keep this going. So thank you guys so very much. The question that I had and I wanted to throw out to did anyone catch whether or not they picked up any of this from outside the bubble area? Was there any antennas outside the bubble area that picked up the 18 megahertz signal from it? I had, yeah, Jeremiah, yes, he did. Jeremiah confirmed that they were transmitting the second time, but yet nobody picked it up.
That was the one thing I was hoping, especially after what happened with the drill head and connecting to the tracker wand, is that they would have sent somebody in the Jeep or in a truck or something, go over to Homestead 3 on the far west side of the ranch and see if you pick it up. That would have been really, really helpful to see if it was still effective.
Well outside the bubble area.
Definitely. All of those were inside.
Yeah. And that made me wonder right there. It's like, has anybody tried that? Yeah, the Ark didn't see it either. They said none of the three of those three.
Command Center, Ark. Yep. Nobody saw it.
Yeah. And I thought the command center was outside the bubble.
No.
I really did, but I guess it's not. It's inside.
It goes east of the property line just a little bit.
Yep. So right, got to try everything outside the bubble or even off the ranch to test these things. And maybe they did and they just didn't mention it, but I that was my thinking right away. And I'm talking to the TV during the show going, did anybody go outside?
Right.
And try it. So they were only 1 mile above Skinwalker. Now they were 12,000 feet.
12,000. That was AGL. 12,000 AGL, not sea level.
Right. Yep. So, yeah, so nobody picked it up, but yet it was working the second time for sure. The first time it got hot, they said it got hot. Hey, there it is there, 12,000 feet. And it got hot, and then he got this do not fly notification from it. He said it was overheating, which was weird because it was 45 degrees that high up in the air. And he would know his equipment. He said, well, yeah, it was getting hot. Well, you're thinking, well, you got electronics running inside this tube. Maybe it is getting hot, but he would know. This is his equipment. He's going to know if it's unusual for it to be getting hot. And he said so. So I believe him. So they had to come down. They brought it down. I guess I don't know what they did with it, if they did much with it at all.
Yeah,
Maybe just
they
opened it
never
up.
said if they found what the issue was or
Right.
not, but
Yeah.
yeah, or if they even did anything. They just checked it out. Everything
Yep.
got put back together and back up in the air they went.
Yep. And it worked the second time
Yep.
without getting hot. While that other helo was on the ground, they had Cameron's helo going back and forth into the bubble area from outside the bubble area, and they were doing a walkie-talkie test or a radio signal test. And this is indicating this is Thomas down in the triangle area with his walkie, and they're talking with Cameron going back and forth in and out of the bubble area. And they were not, whenever he came right over, and it was said in the command center later on, every time they flew over, they lost communication. Thomas could not hear Cameron transmitting when he was right over the triangle and passing through there. He said every time, yes, every time. So every time that happened, they lost radio communication with the helo, with Cameron. And what was interesting also is that, I don't know if this happened every time, but at least this particular time, you're looking at the spectrum analyzer that Travis has on board the helicopter. It also did not
Right.
register.
Yeah, there can be interference directly underneath
Yes.
a helicopter from the rotors. Though they scatter that signal so badly that directly underneath the helicopter you can see that happen. But he clearly was not transmitting. So again, we know there's EMI in the area. The helicopter, apparently the radio on the helicopter was being affected in some way, shape, or form that prevented it from actually broadcasting, even though Cameron was apparently triggering it to send the signal out and talk over the radio.
Yep.
It wasn't happening. Whatever he was doing, it wasn't working. It wasn't working the way it should, which is not unusual on Skinwalker Ranch.
Right. Yeah. On Skinwalker Ranch. Thank you, Joy, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah. Now, I don't know, like I said, they didn't really say how often this happened with Travis in the helo, but again, that shouldn't happen. He should be able to pick it up right there all the time.
Yeah.
He's not, well, he is underneath that
For sure.
the rotors, but I mean,
he still should have picked it up.
He still should have picked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, Jim. Yeah, 17,000 feet above sea level. Yep, because the ranch is about 5,000, I guess, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very interesting that, and again, EMI, right? EMI is knocking all this stuff out. Jim Royston, he was getting a signal, or actually getting indication that he could not fly. And I wrote down a little bit about what he said here. He was talking about Jim could not take off, errors. He was getting errors while the helo was in the bubble area. As soon as the helo would leave the bubble area, the errors would go away and it was all green across the board and he could take off. When the helo was in the bubble, he was getting errors every time and could not take off. Do we need more?
Yeah, that's pretty repeatable. It doesn't seems like, again, it just seems like it doesn't like things being in that airspace. Now again, it would have been fun to see if they get the helicopter out of the bubble, launch the drone, and then bring the helicopter back into the bubble. Hopefully, it doesn't push the helicopter away, but
Yeah.
you know,
When the helo left the bubble, it was all green.
Yep.
So what they decided to do was he took the helo or the drone with the LiDAR on it, just walked it over and set it down on the landing pad plywood, just set it there and let it stay on the ground and do its thing sitting on the ground.
Yep.
Rather than trying to fly with it. At least get it rotating and get a look at what's happening. So there he is. He walks over and sets it down, gets the LiDAR working. And then whenever the drone came over, the LiDAR went blank. It went black.
Anytime the helicopter came over.
Sorry. Yes. Every time the helicopter. Sorry. Yes. Yes, Jeff, we do need more. Yeah, I know we do. Right. Let's go season 7. Ayo. Yeah, you're right. We do need more. But I mean, yeah. The question of whether or not this area inside this bubble area, this right around the triangle, if we need, in my mind, we don't need more data to say that there is in fact something there causing all this problem. That's where I'm getting at.
Yep.
But yes, they have to keep going because we need to find out what it is and what activates it, or there's so many questions. But yeah, the LiDAR, every time the helicopter flies over, the LiDAR goes black. It drops right off. Another thing happening. Not just with the helicopter.
And that kind of interference should not happen from the rotors on the helicopter. This is light. This isn't a radio signal. So this is completely different. There's no reason that the LiDAR should stop seeing anything or stop working. But if there's a bunch of EMI in the area, that will disrupt the electronics of the LiDAR system and potentially make it go black. So knowing that there's ridiculously high levels of EMI in the area kind of starts to make sense, that because it can cause all kinds of weird things to happen with electronics, for sure.
You betcha. Absolutely. So radio interference, GPS tracking interference, LiDAR laser beam interference. It's nuts. There's a screen going blank. You saw it. It was kind of weird when you watch it, because as the helicopter was approaching, all this color that's on here was way up really high. You could see the Mesa, the outline of the Mesa, and then it just trickles away till it goes to black. And then when the helicopter leaves, it's all back. Crazy. They get called over to Chris Roberts calls them over to the Mesa drill site again. And he has some more metal fragments that were picked up by his magnet over there. And thank you, Tom, for this picture. Tom was able to, when we're doing the Curse of Oak Island, we're always trying to catch bags that the guys find artifacts in, and they put dates and things like that. And sometimes it gives you a little bit more information. So this, thank you, Tom, for capturing this. It's 350 feet in and 114 feet deep. So, and I guess that would be measured from, I was going to say the top of the Mesa. I don't know if it'd be the top of the Mesa or.
Yeah, because that Mesa is about that tall. It's about 100 feet or so.
Yeah.
So that would make sense from the ground level where they are with the drill.
Yeah.
So that almost sounds like it's almost like straightforward.
Yeah.
Into the Mesa. But if you go up on top, that'd be 114 of feet of the Mesa above where the drill bit is.
Yep, because it's going in and curving its way up. This is apparently before it's really starting to curve up. It's making its way up. So, but 114 feet deep and 350 feet in. So and they only got 500 and almost 600 feet. The first borehole had to go just under 600 feet to poke out through the top, right? So this one, you're more than halfway in at this point that they've made it at this point, and they're finding metal fragments.
Yep.
Yeah. What are they, and what are they from? Old cars that the government threw in there. I don't know, Jeeps and stuff. Eva, thank you very much. That's really, again, thank you, folks. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Look at I grabbed this picture here because all the spoils. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out of there for Chris. They needed Chris to come there and go through all this, all these spoils and check this all out. So there you go. They're all keeping everything separate as well. All right.
Yeah, over to the Jeff, I just checked on Google Maps, and 350 feet would be fully into the full depth of the mesa. That's past the slope. It goes up, and then it kind of looks like it levels off. It doesn't really in spots. It drops back down, but that 350 feet is well into the body of the mesa. So 114 feet sounds about right.
Yep.
For depth from the top of the mesa down.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Good information. Yeah, that's really, really crazy to think about it in these terms. So they get over to the command center and they start for the analysis. You got Jeremiah Pate there with Cameron. Cameron's got my favorite airplane of all time on the wall behind him, the Corsair. I love that airplane. That is so cool. I have a model of one of those that somebody gave me years ago. I love that. Baba Black Sheep. Who used to watch Baba Black Sheep? One of my favorite movies or TV series for wartime. Oh, Stephanie B. Thank you very much. And Stan. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate you all so very much. Thank you.
See, best chat ever.
Yes, I'm telling you, this is awesome. Thank you. It really does help to keep this going. Yeah. Anyway, so they got them on on screen there, and they're going to go over the information. Now, this is the Google Earth shot of Skinwalker Ranch that Jeremiah had grabbed. And the initial, we're probably going to get more. At least I hope we get to see more. The initial data. And this was only after crunching for a couple of days, like 3 days. I think it was Black Sheep. Yep. Black Sheep Squadron. Thank you, Skyhawk. I love that show. Yep. So he grabbed this, and in his initial, because you've heard Pete talk about having to crunch the data, and sometimes it takes a while. They get a little bit of data out initially, but then they got to really crunch it for more days down the road to get a full analysis of all the data. But this is his initial data comes up like this. Now, at first I was a little disappointed because when he ran the old data from a couple years ago from the balloon test, and he ran it again with new software, he had that very strong EMI coming from above the triangle. When they showed this, it's not above the triangle. It's actually further south. Right here, if you can see this is the triangle right here.
Yep.
Way up there. So, but this one is following Dry Gulch Creek. Now, why would that be? Is that because it's moving and changing like we kind of talked about before? Or does the creek have something to do with the EMI? What's your thoughts?
Well, that left side there is where we saw the light from the helicopter at night. There was a light in the water.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was over here on one of these bends.
Yeah.
It's right in this area here somewhere.
And
or maybe it was down here.
They've seen other effects, when they went into the water there. That's where they either didn't show any EMI at all, or that showed their GPS was 800 feet below ground.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
again, I think this is a really good indication. They need to do some more scans and just see how it changes over time.
Right.
But clearly, just even 2 data points, 2 different scans, you can see that it is moving and shifting. The one thing they didn't mention was all those 90-degree angles
Yeah.
by your
Why?
mouse there. Why is it
Yeah.
a straight line? How do you get EMI in a straight line?
Yeah. Right here, like this. Don't understand that at all.
Mm-mm.
That's
Nope.
it's like it, and it's like it emanates out in waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like a building or something. Thank you. Yeah, like a building or something, or some sort of structure or something. It's really really interesting. Yes, reach the masses. It isn't the creek where the extinct dire wolf was found. Yes, it
Yep.
is. And all these things happened down in the southern. You heard them talking about the southern region. Down in here is where they saw the orb UAP showed up on the trail cam, the burnt fence post down in that area, the dire wolf and the light found in the creek, in the Dry Gulch Creek. Yep, the orb, the purple light that Thomas saw that night. All of
Yep.
those things were happening from down in this area while they were up here and watching it from down there.
Yeah.
And that's where the South Tower is, down that way too.
That's further down on the right.
Yep. So, any speculation from you all in the chat about this? I mean, what would the creek, if it does seem to be following the creek. I mean, way over here, it keeps on going. When they were talking about the south area, they kept showing on the screen. They kept showing this over here.
Yeah, that,
Prometheus was when they were really talking
that
about
was
down
wrong.
here. Yeah,
Yes. That's off ranch on the
that's off
right.
ranch. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
clear over
It's not
where
even on
that
the property.
brown crop circle is.
Right.
Yeah. So they were talking about this region down in here. So, what's your thoughts, folks? Um, about why would it be, and now it's not up here by the triangle, it's way down here. Any thoughts from you guys on that? Maybe it needs a little water for something. um, yeah, maybe. That's does water, I mean, would water have any effect to it? Is there something um underground where the water is that might have some effect on this? Does it move? Like you said, it would be a good idea to do this several times throughout the
Yeah.
season. I
Right.
would. I'd have Jeremy back every other week and have him fly. I know it's very expensive to do that, but I would, because we need to see how it changes and moves. A water coolant system? Yeah.
Well, you'll get to it, but there's water underground.
Yes. There is water
And
underground.
we've known that for some time. They know that there's
Thank
water
you,
down
James
below.
Keenan. Yep.
Yep.
Whatever is, it looks like water is powering whatever was built or buried underground. Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Could be.
Yep. I'm not sure it really has to be associated with the creek. It's south of it, maybe a new area of high strangeness, Jerry says. Maybe so. Maybe so. Um, Impact craters, Kevin, still music and other carnage. I think this whole Uinta Basin is an impact crater. I think it is. If you look at some of the old pictures of impact craters around, I had looked into this back in like season 2. I got on the maps and I looked at for impact craters around the area, and the Uinta Basin is one of them. It's in the air.
In the air. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the air above the mesa. Yeah, impact crater with straight lines? No. No, but the whole Uinta Basin had um Oh no, not at all. Tatiana, we're here speculating, trying to figure this all out. So none of us have any of these answers. Not even the team at this point. They're getting a lot more data, but go ahead.
Water would be an insulator. It actually would stop EMI.
Mhm. Wow, there you go.
Yeah, radio signals and all that, they don't travel in water very well.
No.
Would use very low frequency when you go into water.
This is also Eric was getting all those error messages. That's where the orb, remember that little orb?
Yep.
Now, here's something that the scan had shown that he was talking about these different areas, the lighter colored areas, and he was talking about a tunnel. Now, he had talked about this, Jeremiah Pate had talked about this before. And he had mentioned about when he had the old balloon unit that flew over, and he had said that there was a tunnel under the mesa that was leading, right there about the triangle area. And now he's found it again. I don't think it's this line, but he was showing this area right here. But he said that there was a tunnel or some sort of a void area or something that is right there coming towards the triangle. And that's exactly what he had said before. It was over here to the right, if I remember correctly. It was actually showing up like over in this area.
Yeah.
Last time.
But it goes off over towards the east field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. But this is also, if you guys are familiar with James Keenan, he was on in the first couple of seasons as well. He was out at the ranch a couple times, and he was out there with a ground-based EMI, and he was going around the triangle, and he's the one that said that there was like a underground river or something that was running through this area from on top of the mesa. I'm gonna have to go back and pull and watch that episode again. Um, you might be right, Coach. But he was or tied to the Blind Frog Ranch one. That creek that they're following there, underwater or underground river. So James Keenan had come up with that and said that there was an underground river running through here, and they actually drilled. Remember when they drilled down in the triangle and they hit it? And if I remember correctly, there was actually a camera that was looking down into that hole, and you could actually see the water flowing. Was that? Am I
Yeah.
imagining that? Was that?
Yeah. No, I remember that too. That there's kind of like an underground river,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that there's a connection there too with the Blind Frog Ranch. That they have the same thing. They have underground water flowing through there.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. And he showed in that same picture off on the bottom right of that tunnel he was talking about was a large body of water that's underground.
Yep.
So there may be another opening. Obviously, all of these openings were created by water at some point, but yeah. So there's a large body of water there, and then there's a tunnel that goes off kind of to the northeast, which would take it to the East Valley, northeast of the command center, which they know there's definitely some connectivity between those two spots in the triangle. So,
yeah. Now there's a good, interesting little. This had crossed my mind. Skyhawk 88 isn't the whoops, wrong one. Man, their chat's going by so fast, I miss it. There we go. Isn't the tunnel where the orb UAP traveled in and out? Pretty darn close. I had thought of that too.
It's close. Yeah.
Pretty darn close.
They need to get in that tunnel.
Yeah. Could this tunnel have something to do with that? And if the water was running over a area of some sort of metals or materials down there, could that not generate some sort of friction? Or I don't know how that all works. I know that Navy ships, like the one I was on, that you pick up a magnetic field when you're out traveling through the ocean. The friction of the water on the side of the ship creates a magnetic field. And then when you come into port, they have to do what's called degaussing, and they wrap power lines of some sort. I don't know the whole technical. Maybe many of our smart folks in the chat might know more about this than I do, but they would wrap these cables around the ship and discharge it prior to going into port. So yeah, you pick up you ship can become somewhat magnetized out there, or have this. So could that water passing through there be creating some sort of a energy field, a EMI? I don't know. Jeremy's software also showed these two voids in the Mesa. Now he couldn't say, he called them voids, but I think later on Travis had quantified this a little bit by saying that these areas are of a different, like when they do the GPR and you run it over the ground and you're seeing differences in the density of the soil. I think that he was talking about these being the areas of different density, whether it be in a void or being completely different than the surrounding rock or water, bodies of water. Yeah, different density. He mentioned that in the after show with Maddie Blake. He mentioned that. This one right here, they said is right at the Mesa drill site. Actually, I thought the Mesa drill site was right here. I thought that was the Mesa drill site right there, and this one is offset a little bit. If I know my ranch well enough. I don't know, but this one's huge.
Yeah, that one's really big. And,
And that one, yeah,
20
ahead.
meters down. I mean,
Yeah, 20 meters.
That's not that far.
That's not far at all. So interesting that they have those. But it didn't show up here. It's the usual thing. Okay, I will. Thank you, B. Jones. Yeah, I didn't. That one didn't pop up at all. Melanie, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Wow, you guys are awesome tonight. Thank you all so very, very much. Are there voids, or did someone spill their coffee? Yeah, it does look like a coffee stain. Oh, that's funny.
It was interesting though that he called these voids, and the other one he called a tunnel.
Yeah,
that kind of makes me think that he may have more information, but that it's going in a certain direction, or it's kind of elongated. That he called the other one a tunnel, and these are just open voids, because it doesn't look like they go anywhere.
Yeah,
they're just pockets of open airspace.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one he called a tunnel for sure. So
yeah. You know what I did? I was looking at this. You see so many interesting things while you're looking at these maps and stuff, and this is something that I had noticed too. That the that this being the drill site right down here, and you see this right here. See this area right here? See all this?
Yep.
It's just one of those things that I was noticing, looking at these. And then you got that collapse area that's like right in here at the drill site. And it kind of leads right over to it. Could it mean anything? Probably not. I don't know. And there's an area where people said it almost looked like steps or something, and that kind of looks like that right there up on the Mesa. Of course, that's all off ranch. They don't own any of that stuff. So just an interesting observation.
Yep.
This is this is where he was talking about they were comparing the data from Jan Frankie's GPR data that they picked up with these lines, or where they walked back and forth across the mesa, where he and Caleb was dragging it. Compared that to this same general area, we'll see. We'll see what that all comes to. I think that the electromagnetic that they picked up above the ranch is more interesting to me than these spots underground. We'll see. Yep. Yeah, it could. Yeah, I agree, David. And we have the had to grab that picture because one of the many faces of Eric Bard.
Yes, the many faces of Eric Bard.
Things that make you go, yeah. And then this was what you were talking about earlier, 65, 20 meters, about 65 feet. And if so, are they related somehow to the buried objects? 114 feet, 65 feet. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. That's why at this point I'm not putting a whole lot into these two void areas that he's talking about until we get more information on them. There's really nothing we can pull from that. Again, thank you for those pictures, Tom. In the last part of the analysis going on in the command center, this is the part that kind of makes me want to sit up a little bit and pay more attention. Are the camera shots when they get these 1.2, 1.6 gigahertz going on and things of that nature, they often get UAP showing up. And Eric had 3 for us in this particular command center post analysis. Here you've got this one here that's flying through the air, going across. It's coming from the top of the screen down, moving very, very fast. It almost had like a little streak to it there, but yeah. So, and they said it was, now you heard Travis say it could be a military aircraft of some type. I don't know. He made that comment just to say that they couldn't identify what this was. Then you have this one. Now I do have video of this. This one really, the next two really blow me away. Show us where it hurts. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, so here's this one here. Now he called this embossed.
Yep. It's just a filter that he puts on to make it easier to see.
Boy, you can too. Yeah, and there it passes through. Now, one thing that Travis had said, and I watched this many, many times because I actually recorded a little bit of it. Travis made the comment about how it was traveling, and he said it changed direction. And I watched it many times, and sure enough, it does. And here I wanted to show this and I did this line going by what it looked like down here in this area as it was making its way. Now, granted, the helicopter's moving, everything's changing position here, even though this thing is moving very, very fast. 1,200 feet per second or something. I don't know. Travis came up with some kind of figure in his head real quick. This should have been the trajectory of this thing as it was, if it kept going in a straight line, because I watched it all the way from over here and I kind of watched it go through. I put this line up here, and then they put the circle here to indicate, because it was in the middle of the circle by the time it got up here. Okay, so it stopped following this line that it was on. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's hard to see when you watch the video. It's hard to see how it changed. We got the video is going to show the first one, the little one that looked like a little cloud first. I'll play this and you can kind of check these out. So here it is moving right here. Oh, let me get this out of the way. So you can see it moving through. That was pretty cool. So now this is the one that I marked that line for. And it goes so very close to the helicopter at this point. Now watch it go through here. Now see it's driving, it's on a straight line, and then right here, it kind of curved right there where that stops, and it's going to show it again. But right here where the circle is, it's kind of bending at this point, and it's starting to turn and go more straight up. Right there, it kind of turns a little bit. 1,200 feet per second on the cockpit to tail. Okay. Now this was the other one. Now these things this is something that I was mentioning about, talking about that speed right there, Coach. The one that I had spotted on the Insider program kind of taught me how to catch these things a little bit. But I think the reason why we're missing them so often is because they're moving so daggone fast. I think that's why you're not seeing. I think these things are little orb UAPs are flying around in the sky much more often than are captured. And I think the reason they're not being captured is because they're moving so daggone fast. Or as Travis would say, so daggum fast. And it's just hard to catch. And these moving so quickly, naked eye, you probably would never catch it. But when they can slow these down with these high-speed cameras, 240 frames per
240
second.
frames a second.
Yeah. 240 frames per second. They're catching these things. Tatiana, hi. Have you guys noticed if UAPs were flying in front of the helicopter and the rockets or ropes behind? I believe that first one was flying behind it, but I don't. Let's see if we can catch that.
Just goes under it. You can't really tell.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Can't tell which direction the helicopter. I assume it's going away.
Yeah,
but it could be coming towards us too. So it's hard.
Looks like it's in front. It's hard.
With
to
only
see.
The one vantage point. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It is very hard to tell. Right here, he's got it going really slow. So when he comes back, boy, I don't know. Hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really hard to tell. This is the one that they captured that's going behind. In my opinion, this one's going behind the helicopter on the other side. But you can see it right there. But it's just a little blurry ball, and then you can see it. And it comes out the backside, so it flies on the other side, right? Yeah, right there. It disappears, and then it shows back up on that side. Folks, that's
makes me want to have a high-speed camera running all the time. Because I think you're right. I think this stuff is happening more often than we realize. It's just we're not able to see it.
Exactly. Yep, I think so. I think they're just moving so daggone fast that we miss them. Now, I have seen one time, other than because I've been trying to watch for that little flash, and you're driving even during the daytime, driving down the road, and you'll see ice. And I've seen it a couple of times. Seen just a little flash out the window in front. Just a little pinpoint of light, even in the middle of the day, just like the one that spotted on the Insider camera. And we looked back at that one, and it was a UAP that flew across the entire screen. But I had watching the screen, I just happened to see a little pinpoint of light and went, "Oh, what was that?" Went back and followed it, and sure enough. So it's one of those things, that it kind of trains you to look for stuff like that. And I've seen it, driving down the road before. Just what it was it really a UAP? No idea, because it's just too fast, and we saw one little glimpse. All right, but I just love those UAP things like that. I think it's really, really interesting to capture. All right, so next time, episode number 10. I don't remember what the name of it was. Somebody in the chat probably knows pretty well already. They see a private plane flying over the ranch. Chris Roberts, the archaeologist, sees it. And then they start talking about the cameras. and talking about somebody hacking into the cameras on the ranch. That's a scary thought. Don't they have the system? Isn't the system on the ranch kind of closed off?
Yeah, that system is all of the cameras that Eric has in the command center are cable connected. They can't do any Wi-Fi for obvious reasons on Skinwalker Ranch. So everything is cable connected. This looks to be like a separate security camera system specific to, so that's Travis's trailer that they bring in when he's there for filming season. And so there's cameras around his trailer because there's often odd things happening.
in it.
But the box that he was pointing to in that scene and this shot right here looks to me like a security system,
right? I
that
agree.
has multiple cameras that go to it, and may or may not be connected to the command center. I suspect this is a standalone that's running in the camper, or running from the camper. So from that standpoint, I don't know if these are cable connected cameras or if they're Wi-Fi. If they're Wi-Fi, then yeah, I could see somebody connecting to it,
being able to hack it in some way.
Yeah, or this security system is connected to their internet, and somebody's getting into it through the internet.
Yeah,
into the security system. So
yep.
That it'll be interesting to see what they say about that.
Yeah, it will be for sure. Yeah, because that's not, if somebody's getting into it, the show is so popular, but that's why, like you said, the the other cameras are all cable connected and everything. So
yeah,
for something like this to happen, but we'll find out more information next week when they get to it. Now
stay
this
tuned.
one, stay tuned. I agree with you on that one.
That'd be a good spot for it.
Yeah, Cappy 13. I think so. It would be a very good at the exit point. I think that would be an awesome thing to have on there. I'd like to put a couple of different cameras on it all the time, high speed and also thermal. Watching that point all the time. I think that would be really cool. Another picture here was this one, and they called this an elk. The elk had these boils, some kind of bumps on its face there that he talking about radiation. And this was a game cam. I'm assuming this was probably one of the game cams that captured this. Remember they put game cams all around the ranch, in different places down by the creek, especially. And then this one has these pictures, maybe from radiation, on its face, and that got Ken Woodruff all fired up, on scene there to find out what's going on. And they all went out in there and they started looking. And this must have been in the area where the camera was or whatever, but they're all looking for some sort of, and I'm assuming that you can see Ken in there walking. So, they're looking for some sort of evidence of radiation. And you see him pick up a little bits of soil and put it into a container, so it could be analyzed later. But that was pretty interesting. And then over at the Mesa drill site, Eric, this is this is Eric's befuddled face, as he laughs about from time to time. They always seem to catch the befuddled face. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. And it was mentioned at one point, but he obviously they find something in the spoils of the Mesa drill site that blows them away. And I think that's this. So what are they going to pull out of the Mesa that's going to blow people away? Can't wait to find out.
Yep.
What do you think, Mike?
Yes. Anytime there's something that blows Eric away,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
usually pretty significant. And he
Yeah.
looked pretty blown away in that picture.
Absolutely.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
So we'll look
Yeah.
forward
So
to seeing
sorry,
that.
Eric, if you're watching, but I had to show that because it's an interesting part of the upcoming episode.
Yes. Yes, it will be.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, two last pictures to show you. This one here, remember we were talking about the apple core or the traversable wormhole or whatever over the triangle area. And this would encompass all the data errors that they get above and below. Now, if we go above the 2,000-foot area, this is where I kind of wanted to mention about this power. If Jeremiah Pate if his data from his radar data that he collected is showing some sort of a power source, a high capacity power source. It brings into speculation of where is it coming from. If it's not something that is up there that we can see, then either A, it's invisible, or it's not in our time and space. And if it isn't in our time and space, but we're getting residual, we're getting the we can pick up the radiation from or the EMI from it. Is it coming through some sort of a portal? Or, I mean, a wormhole, you heard Travis describe this before. If a wormhole existed on the ranch, it'd be sucking the entire planet into it. I mean, there's just no way we could live through that.
No.
That would be devastating. So, what is it? So, and again, I throw this out to you in the chat. If we're getting, if this truly is, and if they can find us in another way, it makes sense because this EMI is affecting so many of the electronics, GPS, everything that's going on in that area right there. That almost says that is there. It's almost proving that it's there. Where is it, and where is it coming from? What do you guys think? What do you think, Mike? Remember this picture?
Right.
Same spot.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, the to me the most jaw-dropping part of the Lunasonde data was the amount of power. I mean, when you're talking gigawatt, that's an amazing amount of power. So then, you when you have that much power, there's a lot of other effects that start to happen with that much energy. So then you can start to get wild and crazy. We need Seth or Shannon here for thinking outside the box. But
Yes.
what if it's enough power to cloak a ship? I mean,
There's an
that's
interesting question.
if you can't see it, and but you can sense the EMI coming off of it, and it moves around a little bit and is in different spots or different shapes. Who knows?
Who knows?
It was a really good to see, especially getting two different data points. If it had just been the one, that maybe wouldn't have been as helpful to see. Two, and that the thing that move around corroborates what the data shows, which is that it's transient. It's not always right there.
Exactly.
So
which is
a
hard
couple
to
more of those scans would be fantastic.
would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yep.
Tatiana says, based on our current understanding of physics, which may not be completely accurate.
Well, it's definitely not complete.
No, definitely not. We apply physics as an answer to weird things, but there's still an awful lot we don't know or understand. So who knows what is really possible? Yeah.
We still don't understand gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
we need new physics.
We're not done. We're not done. Right. We need more physics, new physics. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
And maybe it'll start on Skinwalker Ranch.
Bend the light, cloak a ship. Cat says, yeah.
Right. Yep. You need a lot of power to bend light. So
you do. Yes, you do. Yeah, the government had the ranch for 20 years. They bounced. Our current understanding of physics is clearly flawed or inaccurate with all the high strangeness. I think it's just incomplete. I think it's wildly incomplete. And I think Travis actually mentioned something to that effect there on the show, talking about that our level of physics is not
sufficient
not
at this
sufficient.
point.
Yeah. A Klingon bird of prey. Yep. Jim
Yep.
says Klingon bird of prey. Exactly. If it's cloaked,
that'd be my vote.
Right.
Yeah.
But remember in was it the Voyage Home when they landed the Klingon bird of prey in the Central Park? Yeah, there in San Francisco, and the person that was running ran into it. It's still there. You just can't see it. So when they shoot a rocket up, does it move over out of the way to let the rocket go by?
Yeah.
Or the helicopter come through, it just raises up a little bit to let the helicopter come through?
Yep.
Is that why the rockets go around it? Sometimes, or the bottles that they drop out of helicopter seem to bounce off from it and off from its cloak because it's really there, and you don't hear the tink as it hits the hull. Golden Gate Park. Thank you. I've been there actually. That's pretty cool. Yeah, flux capacitor. Yeah. I don't know, folks. It's the guys are getting closer and closer, and I think that they will come up with some answers. But like I said earlier, man, I don't think that. I think it's been well established now that there is definitely something in this spot or in this area.
Yeah.
What's causing it, what it is, unfortunately, just still don't have enough answers for that. But I appreciate all you throwing your ideas out there because that's what we need. Lots of ideas. And that's what Eric said. It's okay to speculate because that's how you come up with new ways of throwing data, collecting data is by speculating about different things. So, yeah. I think the telescope experiment, the new telescopes are rewriting most of our understanding of the cosmos. Yeah, they are, Jerry.
Yeah.
They're for sure.
Telling us how wrong we are.
Tell us how little we know about all the everything out there. Yep. The missing medicine ball fell through the sunroof of the bird. They're like, what the hell is this? Yeah. Yeah. Number 5. There you go. All right, folks, that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I really do appreciate it. And again, like I said earlier, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And thank you again for everybody that did the super chats and things tonight. Really, truly appreciate it. If you like the content of the show we did here for you tonight, consider giving us a like. Give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. Mike Owen, thank you very much, sir. And Christina for doing all the chat down there. Thank you very much. And for that, we'll be back next week for an exciting episode to find out what did they find in the drill site that made Eric had that look on his face. So until next time, we'll catch you right back here at the J Free 906 podcast. Good night, everyone.